This podcast is certified fresh. Freshmediaworks.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Marketing Drive. I'm Chris Doelle, and this is the show where I use my commute time to talk about one actionable marketing idea. One tip, one trick, one tidbit to help you do better in business, to make more money, to make more sales, to increase your bottom line. Today, I want to talk about advertising. A couple things about advertising. One, advertising works. And yes, advertising also doesn't work. The key is how you're advertising, why you're advertising, what you're advertising, where you're advertising. There's so many variables there that it's easy to make a mistake. Yes, let's say you wanted to put up a billboard. Well, is a billboard right for you? Is a billboard the right thing for your business? Is your ad going to be something that is hard to remember? Is your ad going to contain a whole lot of information that nobody is ever going to memorize and certainly can't write down while they're driving? And probably billboards are not right for you. You know, if you just look at simple statistics, I know I've said it 100 times, but I'm going to keep saying it as long as it's true. Right now, podcasting has the highest ROAS, or return on ad spend. ROAS is calculated by if you invest $1 in advertising, how many dollars will you make in sales on average? And right now, you've got a lot of ones out there that do around 2.3, 3.2, the televisions, the radios, the Facebook ads, things like that. Podcasting does 4.9 on average, almost $5 worth of sales for $1 invested. But if that's all you took away was I need to advertise on podcasts, that dollar will disappear. Just like if somebody told you, oh, you got to do a Facebook ad, that's what you need to do, that dollar will disappear too. Because you're not looking at when, where, and why. You're not looking at the important things. With everything, you've got to be able to target your avatar. If you don't know what your avatar is, your ideal customer, how can you throw money at advertising? How can you determine if it makes sense to choose a channel, to choose a television ad, or to choose a radio ad, or to choose a podcast spot? How can you do that if you don't even know who you're trying to reach? But if you do your homework, you figure out your avatar, you figure out who you're selling to, then you can look at what channel is appropriate. And then you can see what channel makes the best return for you. I mention it all the time. Measure, measure, measure. Yeah, you could have a couple channels that work for your line of work. You know, advertising your business. But you got to test it out. You got to see. Maybe something in your delivery, something in your content, something in the copy doesn't convert. Well, again, then let's say, you wrote this great little jingle audio ad to run in a podcast because you heard 4.9x, this is going to be it. And then you only spend a very small amount, so the sample number is very small, and your copy isn't great. Well, you're going to walk away from that having lost whatever you invested and deciding, forget podcasting, that's not the way to do it. And it's the same thing with any medium. You have to commit to a medium enough to measure, enough to get good numbers back to see if you put one ad up and you get a sale, you may think, oh, this one's guaranteed. This channel is guaranteed. If you only put one, that's a cohort of one. So that doesn't tell you anything. It's statistically meaningless. You know, if you put $20 up on something and it gets you 10 impressions, that tells you nothing. You know, if you get 10,000 impressions, then you know. Then you know, hey, this worked or it didn't work. But that's not the end of it. It's not, it worked or it didn't work. It may have been your ad copy. It may have been something else. It may have been you put in a call to action, which was go to this URL or call this phone number, and they responded in droves. But they get to your website, and the website turns them off, or the voicemail where they're leaving the message turns them off. There's so many variables there that you have to break it down. And so where do you start? I say start with the avatar. From there, you go to the message. If you're branding, that's great if you're Coca-Cola or Anheuser-Busch, you know, because they can afford the brand. Everybody knows what a beer is. Everybody knows what a Coke is. But branding helps keep them front of mind. Now, if you're Joe the Plumber, branding doesn't do much work for you. It doesn't help you in the least. Yeah, they'll remember Joe the Plumber, but, you know, there's a Joe the Plumber in every darn town. So that's not really good branding. But instead, if you pose a problem and offer a solution, or you simply say, hey, a free inspection or a free guide to being kind to your plumbing, whatever it is, that might get some action from some people who may then go to your website, fill out a form, put themselves on your email list. That email list is where you start to nurture that relationship, and that's how you build long-term customer relationships. You build them long before they become a customer. I would say, though, that you definitely should do direct marketing. And by direct marketing, I'm talking about speaking to the end customer, giving them a clear proposition or offering, and making sure that the copy supports that and makes them want to take action. That is so much more effective than, you know, call Joe the Plumber, he's an amazing guy. Yeah, that's not going to solve the problem. If you have a super catchy jingle, they may remember that jingle a year later when they're having a plumbing problem. Probably not. You know, unless the phone number is in the jingle, probably won't remember the phone. They may remember the name of the company, and they may look you up. But are you the only Joe the Plumber in town even? I don't know. So, instead, be direct. Tell them what you can do for them. And if you can, try to give first. Try to give them information. Try to give them a guarantee. Try to give them something to take their view of you from, oh, this guy's trying to sell me something, to, yeah, this is a cool guy to know. Yeah, so you become that plumber that you say, I know a guy, when people need a plumber. All right, hopefully that cleared up a little bit when it comes to advertising, because I am a big believer in advertising. It works if you work it well. It is a total waste of money, and probably the largest waste of marketing dollars in history is advertising. I say that as a guy who sells a lot of ads, but it's true. It's true. It's so easy to waste money advertising. Hopefully you can take that information and not waste so much money in advertising and get a true return on your ad dollars. All right, until next time, keep it real.
You've been listening to The Marketing Drive with Chris Doelle. To learn more about how Chris can help your company get more customers, call 713-269-4620 or visit us on the web at freshmediaworks.com.